basically, you know, we've got a hole in the bucket right now. Our counties have lost millions of dollars in recording fees. Why don't we take a look at that? What is it? John O'Brien, Essex County, ran an audit. You know, he went so far as to call the recording office a crime scene. So I would definitely pursue auditing the county records. You know, if we're going to roll back the B&O tax for Boeing, let's roll it back for small business. I think we can be more efficient. I think we need to think outside the box, and I think that raising taxes cannot always be the go-to solution for our problems.
Last month, the Seattle Stranger wrote that Michelle Darnell was in favor of raising taxes on the middle and lower economic strata, and clearly implied that she was a hypocrite. Now, I got into it with them pretty heavy on this because they won't release a video or audio of the exchange where she purportedly espoused those values, and I know for a fact that Ms. Darnell does not want to raise taxes in that fashion. Now, I have worked as a field scout for 3 different presidential campaigns going back to the 80s with Jesse Jackson, and in the modern era for Dick Gephart and John Kerry. Now, along the way, I have won several First Amendment trials and settlements, so I'm very particular about political commentary on defamation issues. Now, just this spring, a $500,000 defamation jury verdict was entered against the Boston Herald after I helped Joanna Marinova secure her counsel at Todd Weld 4 years ago. So I'm familiar with the concept also that justice takes time. It takes time for the truth to come out. Now, that having been said, not every situation calls for legal action. While I do view the comments from the stranger as defamatory against Michelle Darnell, this isn't the place for a lawsuit, but it is a place for me to ask the questions to both candidates that the stranger will not openly discuss. They claimed that Michelle Darnell was not clear on her positions, but they never articulated exactly what Cyrus Habib's position was, despite my repeated inquiry. So anyway, I gave both candidates written questions and an opportunity to respond in unedited video, but only candidate Darnell responded. Now, her full response, unedited, is coming up, but first watch my video visit to Cyrus Habib's office at Perkins Coie. Now, Perkins Coie, recall, is counsel for the entire Democratic Party. I wonder if they advise candidate Habib to ignore these questions in the belief that Ms. Darnell, who garnered 37% of the primary vote with 5% of Habib's money, is not enough of a threat. Now, either way, whatever happened to transparency, I wonder? Isn't transparency supposed to be the hallmark of the Democratic Party? Here we go.
Hi.
Hi, how are you, sir?
Okay.
Good, good. This is the legal counsel for the National Democratic Committee, correct? Perkins Coie?
Well, we are, and out of our DC office.
Right, right. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, then I want to deliver this to Cyrus Habib. I've been trying to get some questions answered by the candidate, and I tried to contact him at his campaign office. I tried him at his email. I've tried him at his legislative office, and I figure if you guys can't get it to him, then he's not going to respond. But I basically have 4 questions for the candidates in the 48th district for Senate, and he hadn't responded to me, so I had to come direct.
What organization are you with?
I'm with KingCast, Mortgage Movies also, are my main websites, but I have a card, and yeah.
Okay, so at this point, what I can do is have this messenger to Cyrus's office.
Okay.
And do you want to see him, or?
If he's available, I'd like to meet him. I mean, I met him on the campaign trail once, but we haven't really talked.
Okay. Well, what I can do at this point is have it messenger to his office.
Okay.
I can't call him up and ask him to come up, because I don't know if he's in either. So.
Right.
And if he hadn't responded, that's probably the best protocol for me to have this delivered to his office.
Okay.
And have him to contact me.
That's fine. I appreciate that.
All right.
It'll be well.
Okay.
We're here with KingCast.net, Mortgage Movies. We're with candidate Michelle Darnell. She's the candidate for the 48th District here for Senate in Washington. I have 4 questions for her and for her opponent, Cyrus Habib. We'll start tonight with Michelle Darnell. Question number 1. Right now, you have what is basically a court-ordered unfunded mandate for education. What are your specific plans to address the funding mandate set forth by the McCleary case?
Well, the first thing I would do is I think I would revisit the $8.7 billion tax deduction that we recently granted to Boeing. I feel like what that did, in a sense, was shift the liability or the burden onto small business and taxpayers. And I think we need to discuss what the significance of that and maybe reverse that to come up with funds with our education, for our education, excuse me.
Okay, thank you.
Further,
please.
Well, actually, I'll elaborate a little bit. Further, in response to our education issues and our funding issues, I believe that we need to consider breaking up the monopoly and introducing more competition and parental choice. Competition in a business environment usually results in excellence and efficiency, and I don't think the issue is as much pouring more money into the system as it is to effectively use the money that we already put into the system. We spend about $12,000 per student per year for, between local and state taxes. I have 4 kids. If I was given $12,000 per student per year for those kids, they'd probably be rocket scientists by now. I think we can do a better job. I think we can be more efficient. I think we need to think outside the box. And I think that raising taxes cannot always be the go-to solution for our problems.
Thank you. We'll move to question number 2 now. What is your position on income and sales taxes? Are you in favor of regressive or progressive taxes? And what changes would you advocate during your term?
Well, in terms of progressive versus regressive taxes, I think a lot of times that's a misnomer. I think that, it's left up to your interpretation of what that means. I like to put things into plain, simple terms. I am not in support of an income tax. At this point, frankly, in terms of taxes, period, I'm kind of holding the line on taxes. I don't think that we should be entertaining increasing taxes when we're not using the funds we currently have effectively. Frankly, when I talk to homeowners, taxpayers, and people across this state and this district, I'm finding that, they're very upset with the tax, spend, and regulate policies that we seem to be going towards right now. So my perspective on taxes is that we need to sort of hold the line. We need to increase accountability. We need to create a fair and balanced tax system. We should not be giving deductions to the likes of Boeing and then rolling that liability onto taxpayers and small businesses. I'd like to even consider rolling back the B&O tax. B&O tax, you want to talk about a regressive tax. The B&O tax is significantly regressive because before a business ever turns a profit, they're paying, B&O on that. Not to mention the fact it's highly complex, so they end up having to hire an accountant to sort it all out. So, hey, let's talk about, if we're going to roll back the B&O tax for Boeing, let's roll it back for small business. And frankly, I think what would happen then is you'd see, there'd probably be a temporary reduction in, our revenues, but I think it would be quickly offset by an increase in sales tax, on goods and services, because those businesses would get up and, have the opportunity to get up and thriving.
Okay, question number 3. There have been legal decisions throughout the country, including the Nancy Becker versus MERS Corp case in Pennsylvania, decided this summer, that indicate that the MERS accounting system has robbed counties of millions of dollars in recording fees.
Yes.
Do you believe that the area recording offices should be conducting audits in order to go after some of this money?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we've been talking about taxes. I recently had an interview and, they were discussing taxes, and I said, well, basically, we've got a hole in the bucket right now. Our counties have lost millions of dollars in recording fees. Why don't we take a look at that? I mean, I'm a foreclosure defense paralegal. Every one of these situations, there's multiple causes of action, and most of the time, the issues are found in the county records. What is it? John O'Brien, Essex County, ran an audit. What was it? 92% of the documents that he had audited had significant, if not fatal, issues with them. He went so far as to call the recording office a crime scene. So, why are we not addressing that? I mean, there were significant losses there. So, absolutely, I would definitely pursue, auditing the county records.
Here we are. And lastly, what role do you believe that the mortgage and housing crisis has had on Seattle area economy?
Well, I think it's had a significant impact on Seattle area economy. I mean, nationally, it's about 40%. Statewide, 40% of middle-class wealth has been extracted through this mortgage-backed security Ponzi scheme, if you will. Here locally, I mean, at the state level, 340,000 homes are underwater. 37% of those will end up in foreclosure. This is affecting families. It's affecting local economies. It's affecting state revenues. It's affecting retirement, pension. I mean, it's across the board. I mean, it's a significant impact. In our state, we actually have the benefit of the Washington State Foreclosure Fairness Act mediation program. When I am elected senator, I would like to strengthen that program. I would like to provide for education of the mediators, because a lot of times they're pulling them over from other areas of law, and this is a complex area and we need more education. We need to give the mediators more authority to challenge, for example, the beneficiary declaration, which the whole negotiation often turns on. We need to allow, I think, perhaps the opportunity for defense, much like our criminal defense system. Maybe homeowners should have a public defender, because often the thing that's impeding justice is the fact that they have unequal footing with the bank. In effect, they can't afford to raise a defense. This is a property rights issue. This is a denial of due process issue. It's a significant issue, and I get sort of frustrated by the fact that I feel like our politicians and even my opponent doesn't want to discuss the 800-pound gorilla in the room. We want to talk about raising taxes. We want to talk about a number of other issues.
Ms. Darnell, your time is up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's the way it goes. We're here at kingcast.net, Mortgage Movies. Thank you for your time.
Okay.